formally welcome everyone who's now joining us to the webinar Jam, the first webinar of LJMB.
The person who's delivering our learning session this afternoon is a best-selling author, a champion speaker. He's won awards in Toastmasters, and a trainer and coach for career and professional development. He has published 12 books to date, including Your First Job, A Practical Guide to Success, Your Career Roadmap, How to Get the Job You Want and Love the One You Hate, and Soaring High, Your Flight Plan for Your Best Career Ever. With about 30 years of corporate experience in manufacturing and marketing, his day job is being assistant vice president for a well-known beverage conglomerate. He runs two of its packaging factories. This year, we have partnered with him to help develop and coach more professionals and leaders in the country. So if you are looking for a coach who could surely help you boost your career to the next level, he's the person to go to. Let's all welcome our speaker, Coach Nelson D. Coach?
Hold on, let me unmute myself and let me go back to the share screen. Hello, everyone, and thank you, Rain, for that generous introduction. And thank you one and all for spending your lunchtime with us. I'm so excited to share not one, not three, but 5 ways you can surprise your boss by thinking like a business owner. Let me start with this brief example. I work for a beverage firm. It's proudly Filipino. And then we have a partnership with a global soft drinks company. And they don't have a factory here in the Philippines, but we do. So the arrangement was that they're going to use our factory. We're going to produce their product for them, but we're going to use their formulation. We're going to buy their materials, and we're going to observe their stringent requirements. And I was sitting in this operations review where the operations head was talking to the business owner. Sir, we're incurring a lot of rejects in this tall packing arrangement. Why? Because we've been producing so much products that what would be good, acceptable in our standards, fail in their standards. So we have to throw away a lot of products. We are losing money. Now, if you were the business owner, you'll say, okay, let's kill the project. No, he did not say that. He said, I don't mind because I'm after the learning to become world class. And true enough, we got our act together. We met their standards. We became profitable after that. And even after that arrangement has been terminated, our factory continued with those best practices. And now when the business owner was producing his own brands, he is now world class. And this gives you an idea of being employee mindset. An employer mindset, nothing wrong with being an employee. It's just that it's so easy for us to think what's the immediate issue. It's to think about our job description. It's to look at the 9 to 5. The employer mindset is vastly different. Now, put in a chat box as I continue, What do you think will happen to you if you are an employee and you begin to think like a business owner? I'm looking at the chat box over here, and let me hear now. If you're to think like the owner, the boss of your boss, the boss of your boss of your boss, what will happen to you? Anybody? First round, you'll be known as somebody who is mature. People will be amazed at your insight and foresight. What else? You'll be thought about as executive material. And pretty soon, it's like this. The business owner will grow to put you in to be more involved with his projects because you're in the same wavelength. And pretty soon, you may want to become your own business partner. You will eventually be ready to handle your own business well. Yes, that's correct. Thank you, JP. JP Co, welcome. Glad to see you. Yes, if you're now an employee and you're now learning how to become your own business owner, guess what? You have your cake and eat it too, because you're being paid a salary by your current employer and you're training yourself to become an employer yourself one day. The employer is paying your tuition. That's great. Now, therefore, if you want to move ahead, to stand out from your current fellow employees, you shift from an employee to an employer's mentality. You get out of the box and begin to think big, think broadly, which brings me to my first slide. We're going to give you the 5B's of being a business owner. How do we think that way? And the first B is this: have a big picture. Big picture. Remember the business owner? I don't care about the short-term losses and the rejects. I'm after the learning so that in the long term, I'll be world-class. And he pulled it off. And that gives you an idea of what it means to be a business owner when you have broader thinking, you see beyond the immediate issue, you take 2 steps back, but go 3 steps forward. You think long-term, not short-term. You're willing to lose the battle to win the war. Let me give you a short example. And this is an actual example that happened last year. And look, and put it in the chat box. I'm going to ask you something in the chat box. I will appreciate your participation. Here is the case of the panicking purchaser. Now, I run a factory and we buy plastic bags to put our stuff into. Now, this purchaser called me one day. Please help me. I'm the one who orders the plastic bags you use for packing. I ordered 3,000 bags of the wrong spec. They're too long. And because of that, my boss will deduct the mistake from my salary. We're talking 5 digits. And if you're this purchaser, a working mom, you cannot afford that. Now, please type in the chat box, why should I help this person? Why should I help this person? It's her mistake. Now, if you are thinking like an ordinary employee, you may think, well, that's her problem because she made a mistake. She should now order the right kind of bags and give it to us. But if you're thinking like a business owner, no, let's help her. But what I'm interested to know is, why do you think we should help her? Anybody in the chat box? All right. Now, people think, well, because that's the right kind of thing to do. We have to help our fellow men. But you know what I told my persons, my people? You know, this is an excellent chance to build goodwill. If we are helping her in her time of need, when it's our turn to be in our time of need and we need her to help us with an emergency purchase or a rush order, she'll help us right away. And true enough, we told her, all right, send those 3,000 bags over and we'll take up everything. What did we do? Okay, imagine this team of people, about 30 people. They do nothing but take their scissors and trim the long bags into shorter ones. Was it hassle? Yeah, it was hassle, but she was happy. We saved her skin. And you can bet we're a strong ally in the purchasing department. Now, Nina Del Rosario said, okay, we should help her because eventually she'll be a loyal customer. Yeah, that's true. Great thinking, Nina. See, business owner na. Because one day, what if I leave my company and I'm going to sell something to that company and I'm going to meet her face to face? Oh, Mr. Purchaser, do you remember? No, nothing. So now we have a good rapport. Another one, Bry said to have a good relationship with the business, that's good. Exactly, goodwill. So that's where now a business owner thinks in terms of the long term. It's not like you made a mistake, you pay for it. It's not your problem. But no, we think long term. And I'm not going to dwell too much in this one slide, but when you have your own copy later on, I want you to ponder over it. The business owner thinks more of investing rather than spending. Think of it this way. You are an employee and you want so much to be in LJMB training program. It's a fantastic program. We're giving customized and engaging workshops and webinars. But your L&D says there's no budget. If you're thinking like a business owner, you will invest, even if it's from your own pocket. That's one. Secondly, the business owner thinks in terms of productivity. I'll be busy, but there is result. There are results. It's not just activity for activity's sake. Do not fall into the trap of just because you're so busy, you're being productive. The business owner thinks in terms of quality because quality engages people and it will lead to more quantity versus the employee may think the more, the merrier. Or as some people say, the manyer, the betterer. Now, the other one is the business owner will think more people than profits. A no-brainer would be like this. Supposing I have a project, but it's going to pose safety hazards in my factory. I will kill the project because I'll prioritize the safety of people rather than the big profits I'll be able to produce. The other one, as I said, in the case of the purchaser, the business owner thinks first of goodwill, establishing trust and relationship with the potential customer, whereas the employee thinks sales agad. The other one will be the business owner thinks about the reputation. I like what Louis Banta said, work hard so that you do not need to be introduced. Whereas in the employee, you may just be after the sales, because I have a quota to keep. But the business owner, no. Let's deepen the relationship and find out what else we can do for him or her. Here's my favorite. The business owner goes for priorities than schedules. I let it for you to think about what's the difference between priorities and schedules. The business owner schedules priorities. The employee prioritizes schedules, even if the schedules are not the strategic things to do. So far, so good? Now, yes, you are investing in your own personal growth. Thank you, Nina. Right. Now, letter B, number 2, you build bridges. Like I said, that person, but business owner made an alliance with this global company. We're building an alliance. We are having this thing called collabs. And that's why if you're a business owner thinking person, you're not thinking of alliances. Somewhere you can have your own Justice League or Avengers, where you can complement each other's strengths and have win-win. Here's a very simple example. This is a Borg cube. Now, if you don't know what's a Borg cube, you're not watching enough Star Trek. Just kidding. It is a plastic palette. It's a toy representation of a palette. It's a plastic palette, okay? And I don't see any people say, yes, Star Trek forever. Now, I used to work in this firm that produces plastic trash bins, the one on the left, you see there. You see them all over the place in the mall and park, this basurahan, where it's made of plastic. That's what we do. At one time, we were in this trade exhibit where we have a booth and it's all our models for the trash bins everywhere. And the Singaporean guy came in and took a look. And this salesperson, his name is Sandy, asked him, sir, would you be interested to buy any of these plastic trash bins? The Singaporean guy said, no, I'm just a guy who is distributing these plastic pallets. Now, if you're employee mindset, if you're Sandy, you'll say, okay, thank you very much. Hope to see you again one day. But Sandy has a business owner thinking. Let me, sir, Mr. Singaporean, introduce you to my boss. Okay, we're going to arrange a meeting with you, and then I want us to have a dealership. See, now Sandy's thinking more like a business owner. I spot an opportunity. I'm selling trash bins, but I have my own network here of customers. And you, Mr. Singaporean, you need your own set of contacts, which I have. So let's now work together. Let's sign an agreement wherein we will be your authorized dealer of your paleta. And true enough, that contract has been sealed And guess who's the number one salesperson in our company who tripled his sales commissions in the first year? Sandy. See, that's an example of having a business owner mindset, and then you are building alliances wherever you can. Let me give you the third business owner mindset. It is a business case. Have you ever had this experience where you need funding for your project? You need to have a budget to go for a business travel, or you need to have funding to be going to a webinar or seminar by LJMB. For that, you may have to have the skill of writing a business case. And this is where you get to sell your ideas. Remember, a business owner keeps on selling. He gets funding and he gets to engage people. For that, you must have a compelling, notice, not just convincing, but compelling business case. And here is a 4-step program. I teach business communication, technical writing. Here's one snapshot. How do you write a business case? Well, there are 4 questions you will have to answer and answer well. First, what do we need to do? What is the job to be done? What problem are we solving? Number 2, why are we doing this? Is it because it's a safety issue? Is it because this thing keeps on destroying the quality of our products? Is it because we want to expand? Is it so that we can make more money? And then third question, what would it take? What do I need now from management? What resources will I ask for? Is it a CapEx? Is it more time? Is it travel? What is it that you want to have? Then last but not least, and this is the one wherein many people, they fall short. What's in it for the boss? What's in it for the company? If I were to give you this money, Mr. Employee, what do I get in return? Always think about in terms of pesos. Here is an actual example just made this month. It's an actual business case. The figures are disguised, but the concept is the same. All right, so here it is. We are actually after a new forklift. Okay, we are after a new forklift, but because the company is also on the budget, we have to also convince them how to give us the budget for forklift. So instead of saying that we're spending a lot of money for repairs, it's 430,000 plus so far. However, the business case which I trained my person to write is this. It is short-sighted to just look at the repair costs. The real penalty of having a broken down forklift is that we're losing production time because we use the forklift as an integral part of our production process. No forklift, no production. And last year, we lost something like 3 million pesos because of lost production time. This year, the forklift has been with transport department for repairs for about 3 months. Since then, we're incurring losses, which you compute to be equal to 3.5 million pesos, and it is still rising. Now, if you know that, and I ask you, what is the cost of a forklift? Anybody can get a guess? How much is a new forklift thereabouts? Remember, we're losing 3.5 this year, climbing. Last year, about 3 million. What would a new forklift cost? Yes, downtime is costly. Yes, thank you. Nina, I don't know if are you in operations or something? The answer is 1.5 million pesos. And therefore, the business case like this, look, you're already spending so much wastage, which if we had already tackled it early, it's already the cost of the forklift. Now it's like 2 or 3 forklifts. So please give us the new forklift. And true enough, it's up for XCOM for approval. That's an example of a business case where you have to also deal with numbers, tell them what you need to do, what you need, what it takes. Give me 1.5 million. What's in for return? Well, you stop the bleeding. You're going to have 4 million plus by the end of this year. Give me the new forklift. Okay. So far, so good. You've seen an idea how to make a compelling business case. And therefore, if you're an employee, thinking lang like an employer, you're thinking of the employer's money and resources. You're thinking how to protect his business, his assets. That's how you also make a business case. And by the way, this can be a good way for you to exercise making a business plan if you plan to be an entrepreneur or an elevator speech or a pitch to investors. Okay, now, second to the last, fourth, The fourth B of thinking like a business owner is to engage in what we call borderless thinking. It's my way of saying you think outside the box, lateral thinking, you go beyond the obvious. And here are the 4 steps. Now, if you are into PSDM, problem solving and decision making, this is a bonus round for you. There are 4 C's which I'm proposing. 1, challenge the limiting belief. Have you ever had this person, we need to solve this problem. Oh, sir, no budget. Sir, with her, always this problem, never change. Or you have this particular, sir, we lack people, we lack know-how. Challenge those limiting beliefs because the problem may be your limitation to the problem. Second, you create what I call wild ideas. Think outside the box, brainstorm, toss around ideas, even though you think at first it may sound funny or stupid, but throw them anyway. The other one would be now after having the several options, you now check their pros and cons. And when you chose your best solution, carry it out. Ideas are cheap. The real trick is to pull it off. Now, let me show you a classic puzzle. And if you know the answer, please don't spoil it for the others. Now, if you have not seen this puzzle yet, type me in the chat box. This is the puzzle. It's the classic 9 dots. I'm going to give you 30 seconds, and you probably can use your finger to, try to do it on the screen. Use your finger or ball pen, link all those 9 dots using 4 straight lines or less without lifting your pen. In other words, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 lines unbroken, but you have to connect all 9 dots. If you know the answer, don't spoil it yet. If you don't know the answer yet, I'm going to show you in the next screen, but let me give you some fun of discovery. I'll give you 30 seconds. Go. Yes, thank you, Nina. You're very much into operations. May I ask, what industry are you with, Nina? Yep, all good. Thank you very much. All right, so I hope you're having fun. Okay, how many of you have not seen skincare and cosmetics? Wow, that's a challenging thing. So kudos to you. All right, so I think all of you have seen the puzzle. Yes. Oh, me. So Rudy has not yet seen the puzzle. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know who else, no? All right, so they'll give you 10 more seconds. All right. So Rudy, were you able to figure it out? How do you going to pull it off? The answer is yes. Whoever has not yet seen the puzzle, have you solved it? Please say yes. I'm going to give you now the answer in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2. If I go outside the box, it is possible. Yes, you got it. And this is the answer. This is the answer. Okay, many people, when they have this for the first time, they try to have all those 4 lines within the 9 dots. And then when we show them this solution, they say, it's unfair. You just went outside the box. But listen carefully. What box? It's 9 dots. You're the one who's putting the box on the 9 dots. And that's what I meant by having limiting belief that is actually not there. The first step of borderless thinking is to lay out all your assumptions. And then hopefully other people will uncover your unspoken assumptions. And then you'll see, why is this supposed to be happening? Why is this the case? You challenge that thing, which it may be a limiting belief. Last, we have the board of advisors. Okay, whenever I would counsel people, whenever I would interview people, one of the things I'm interested about is this. Who are your sources of wisdom? Who would you turn to when you have a life-changing decision to make? Who is that person you listen and you comply? I'm after that because remember, the wrong mentors, the wrong advisors, wrong advice. Wrong advice leads to what? Wrong action. Wrong action leads to disaster. So I'm always curious, what will be your sources? Who are your sources of wisdom? If you want to become a business owner, you are having, of course, your own board of directors, board of trustees, board of advisors. And if you want to stand out in your workplace, you want to surprise your boss by thinking like a business owner, you may also want to have your own board of advisors. And these will be your sources of wisdom, your secret weapons, your dollar friend. Have also people who are experts in their fields, and then your boss will be surprised. How come you know this? It took me years to know about that, but you know. Well, that's your secret weapon. Your tribe of mentors, as a book by Tim Ferriss would say. So this is valuable, huh? Imagine if you're not yet an entrepreneur, you're still a salaried person. Think of yourself as you Incorporated, Nelson D Incorporated, Nina Del Rosario Incorporated, Ray Marcelo Incorporated. And who would be your board, your trusted board, which will help you to ever achieving success? So far, so good. So therefore, what will be the 5 steps of thinking like a business owner? 1, have a big picture. You go beyond the obvious. 2, you build bridges. You build alliances. You build partnerships. Third, you must have the skill of writing or presenting a business case so that you'll be able to get the resources you need. Fourth, you must engage in borderless thinking, by which you'll be able to think outside the box and solve practically any problem that goes your way. Last but not least, board advisors. Who are the trusted mentors, advisors you have to help you along the way? And because of that, you'll be accelerating your own success and your learning. Do this well, and you will surprise your boss. Thank you very much. Please continue to follow me in my Facebook, my LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. Continue the conversation. If you have other questions, feel free to contact me through these social media handles or through my email, nelsontd.com@gmail.com. I also have a website where I post stuff like this, where it can be also about career, relationships, spirituality, anything. And that's where also you can find out what I can offer more for you. That's nelsontd.com. It's under WordPress. So thank you very much. Let's continue the conversation. We now open the floor to Q&A.
Hello,
Thank you
Sir
very much,
Nelson.
Mark. All right, thank you. You're welcome, Nina, Skincare Operations. Okay, go ahead. All right. You're very welcome, JP. Thank you. You're very welcome, Kathy. Edna, thank you very much, Edna.
Hello,
All
Sir
right.
Nelson.
Pierce, thank you. All right.
I have a question for you, sir.
Sure.
Are there any tendency that the employer or boss might be offended if an employee starts to act or think assertive like a business owner?
Oh, that's a good question, because you may have an insecure boss. Okay, that's real.
Yeah.
And that's a wise question, Eldrin. Eldrin is one of the up and coming people in the industry, so watch out for him. Okay, so Eldrin, your question is, what if I'm a boss wherein it can be threatened or offended? This is where it's going to be also part of your skill as a would-be business owner. It's empathy. It is sensitivity. Okay, first round is that we assume that you're the employee and you know the personality of your boss, and therefore you strategize accordingly. If, let us say, the boss is somewhat touchy, territorial, then you may want to go gingerly and make it like this. What if, instead of being so frontal, boss, here's what I think, maybe you now sort of try to introduce your idea and make him think it's his idea. That's one possibility. Okay, so one way is perhaps you now psychologize your boss and say that, boss, what if like this? Boss, I like your idea, flattery konti. Then you also try to build the idea. It's really from you, but you're making the boss be involved and perhaps even think it's his own idea. And then who knows, he'll say, that's nice. I'm so glad with this discussion, Nelson. Let's go for it. Voila. You're thinking like a business owner. You help your boss, but we all know who's the real hero. Does that answer your question, Eldrin?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for the answer.
Thank you. All right. So we see a lot of thank yous. May I also ask more questions? Feel free to ask.
Hello, Sir Nelson.
Yes.
Hello, am I clear?
Sure, I can hear you.
Sir Nelson, good afternoon. This is Rudy
Rudy.
we have starting business. Actually, it's a startup. My
Yes.
question is all about customer centricity. How do
Yes.
you handle rude or feral customers, or how do you use to approach them?
Well, actually, if I were the business owner, do you want those customers in the first place? Limiting belief. Okay, so you're talking about what do you do with rude customers, demanding, super demanding, unreasonable? Do you want to deal business with them in the first place? I don't know. Now, if you really need to retain them because let's say you're starting up, you need their income, you need their business, then what you may want to do is like this. It's a little coaching, step back. Where are they coming from? What makes them rude? And if you can find out somehow why they're rude, okay, I know it's going to be a somewhat theoretical because I don't know the exact scenario, but the mindset is this. Why are they rude? And if you can figure out why are they rude, then maybe you can then deal with them accordingly. For example, they are rude because that's their culture. There are some people who just, they're just so coarse, in which case it's now a reframing thing. They're rude, but that's nothing personal against you. They're rude because that's their personality, and therefore just be patient with them. Or if they're rude because they distrust you, then the issue is to build up trust. Or they're rude because they've been burned before by some supplier out there. They're afraid that you'll burn them. Again, you may have to build trust by offering something, and then it establishes their satisfaction and build it up from there. I'm not giving you a general question because I don't know specifically why your startup business has rude customers. Is this okay for you, Rudy? You can tell me more about it.
Actually, Sir Nelson, we don't have any ideas about it, but our business will be on e-commerce, and to be specific, that would be on Shopee.
Hmm.
And we're kind of a little bit curious about those customers who have this kind of attitude. So we don't have any ideas because of those customers, how being what should I say, that kind of behavior comes up because we are a startup. So we don't have any ideas yet.
Then here's my takeaway. You're a startup, right? The assumption is that you've done your business plan and you have the profile of your customers, an avatar, for example. You have a target market, you know the psychographic and the demographics. So that assumes that you must have an idea of who your ideal customers are and chase them, not settle for the customers that you have and they're so bastos to you. That's one. That's outside the box thinking. Now, it may be a bit there because who knows, you may suffer a dip for a while, but look, what is going to be more productive long term for you to handle a small stress-laden business or deal with customers you love? That's one. Now, if you're forced to deal with those customers, then it's a classic, number one, reframing. You don't see them as rude customers, you see them as challenging customers. And then you find out what is it that they want to have, separate the personality from their needs, satisfy those needs, and hopefully the rudeness level will go down. You got me? I hope that helps. Rudy? Okay, so, all right. Now, I'm not closing this conversation. We can have a chat after that because I like to learn more. I don't even know what your startup. That's e-commerce. E-commerce what? Okay. Now, your feedback is important. Oh, that's LJMB. Agree on changing your mindset, even language. Yes. If you see your customer as bastos, you'll precisely get bastos. But if you see your customers as diamonds in the rough, and try to not just be patient, not to make this, but also try to win their trust. Hopefully, that rudeness will be transformed to rapport, from rudeness to rapport. And that's business owner thinking. Now, we'll approach you after the webinar. Good. Yes, story we tell our minds. We have a go-to mentor. How do we, okay, Ina is asking, earlier mentioned we have go-to mentors. How do we look for the right mentors, avoid the wrong one? You now look at the LJMB YouTube channel because that was my last episode. And then Rain will probably, hopefully, she'll put the link. Where in last episode, we talk about how to have the right mentors. Okay, so that's a plug. Go to also the rest of LJMB resources. There's a ton of great material there, and contact them for customized training. Now, who else? Your feedback is important.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
Good afternoon to everyone. My
Sure.
question, Nelson, is as I was listening, because I would like to apply this to my class. I teach entrepreneurship in the college at the Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Muntinlupa, and we use foreign books. Now, sometimes as we read those texts, no, in marketing, in advertising, and all of this, it's not applicable to local market. And as I was listening to this, these things that you have mentioned are more adaptable to Filipino culture, the way we do business. So that's that. My question is, how do I create these things more closer to students who are fourth year who are taking business subjects?
That's a great question. And yes, you're right. You know, over here is my library. There's a lot of American books, okay? The Simon Sinek, the Seth Godin, the whoever else out there. And you're right, many of them are so American, they probably have a hard time translating them to the Filipino market.
Yeah.
By the way, may I know your name?
Israel.
Israel Bombasi, how are you? Okay.
Yeah, good.
All
Good
right,
to
good.
see you.
Good. Now, the way I would put it is like this. You learn the principles from the American books and try to see if you can apply it here in a Filipino culture, adjust along the way, and write your own books. Do you hear me? You are starting by reading American books, capture the essence. You don't have to follow the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because that may work for an American, but a Filipino who's, let's say, less confrontational, you know, we're more into the hiya thing. Then you just simply look at the principle, then try out what you can apply in the Filipino context, adjust along the way. Then when you have your key to success, write your own book. And that's it. Okay.
Wow,
the other
that's
thing
a
for your
very good
students.
advice.
Yes. Now, let me give you another little idea for your students. You teach entrepreneurship, right?
Yes.
What if you did this nice project? Mr. Student, here's a book by, I don't know what author. I want you to read it, but now I want you to try it out on a Filipino customer or potential client and see how it works and see what you can do to adjust. Then give me a presentation or term paper, and I'll give you an A, a B, I don't know what you're going to give him, no? And that's also a learning because the student learns by doing, and he shares the learning with you and the rest of the class. So far, so good?
So far, yeah, it's very good. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
There's one last question here, sir, in the chat room. Her question is, borderless thinking sometimes ends up into analysis paralysis. Any suggestions on this?
There are several techniques how to do that. First of all is to set a time limit if you want to. I will set myself a certain deadline, let's say 1 week time, 2 weeks time. Then after that, it's like finish or not finish, make your decision. The second thing is like this. You have to be comfortable how much percentage of information you need before you can make the decision, because usually analysis paralysis is like, I want more data. But we realize we can have 100% data. But if you're saying, if I have 80% of what I think is the complete data, that's okay for me. The other 20% probably will not matter, or it will reveal itself as we go along. So two things. One, set yourself a timeline. You must have your decision. The girl is waiting. You're not going to keep her waiting forever for you to propose, right? You're not going to wait until you're both old. That's one. The other one is, I don't know that girl completely. Yeah, who does? But you now know her very well, sort of. You don't have complete information, but there you go. Will you marry me? So here comes the point. Find out the reasons of your analysis paralysis, and usually it's like this. I want to be sure I'm making the right decision. But how do you know you are sure? When I have complete information, settle first how complete you want to be. And if you're comfortable with that percentage, 70, 80, 90, but not 99 or 100, then that's one key. All right? Does that answer your question, Maria?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay.
If you want to continue the conversation with Coach Nelson D, right after this call, you may book your discovery call with him, free call, after this session, through the link that we have provided in the chat room and by scanning this QR code or going to calendly.com/LJMB/Nelson D.